everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Akimaloye in Abuja. Let's continue with our target to focus on the 2023 election. Until that election has been properly executed and prosecuted, we will not get our eyes off counting down to the very day that Nigerians will be able to elect the new leaders. It's officially 51 days to the 50 days to the 2023 elections, and Nigerians are anticipating the opportunity to elect their leaders in the February next year poll. So get your PVC and make your votes count. We'd like to also let you know that on Sunday, the 8th of January 2023, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party and his vice presidential candidate, Mr. Dati Bab Ahmed, both of them will be in the People's Town Hall live on Channels Television from 7 p.m. It will be a conversation with Nigerian people and the flag bearers of the Labour Party. This is in the series of Channels Television Presidential Town Hall, the People's Town Hall, with Labour Party's Peter Obi and Senator Baba Ahmed. Keep it there with Channels Television, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. live on Channels Television on Sunday. Well, the city of Ibadan was agog, and the Integrity Group, a group of People's Democratic Party governors, popularly now known as the G5 governors, stormed the old city of Ibadan. Well, they have still not announced their preferred presidential candidate just yet, which they promised last year that they will announce this January. The G5 governors today stormed Oyo State in solidarity with their Oyo State counterpart, Seyi Makinde, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State, and his Benue State counterpart, Samuel Otom, said the alliance within the People's Democratic Party, known as the G5, or the Integrity Group, remained united. The two governors also said the G5 will soon announce its preferred choice of presidential candidate for the February 25 election in Nigeria. Governor Wike and Governor Otom spoke at the Mapo Hall in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, during the flag-off of campaigns for the re-election of Governor Seyi Makinde. Let me allow you to listen to Governor Wike and Governor Seyi Makinde.
Under Omitutu 1.0, I promise economic prosperity for the people of Oyo State. I said we will take our people from poverty to prosperity under accelerated development. We took our IGR from 1.8 billion a month to 3.8 billion as of November of last year. Under Omitutu 1.0, I told the people of Oyo State that our infrastructure will integrate all the zones of our state and it will target our economy.
Now I know it's the only party that Seyi Makinde, my in-law, our youth leader in G5. My dear good people of Oyo State, my dear good people of Oyo State, let me thank you. Let me thank you for making your son available. A young man who is dependable, a young man you can trust, a young man you can go home and sleep with your two eyes closed. A young man, when he tells you yes, it's yes, it's yes. When he tells you no, his no is
The governors are speaking today in Ibadan when they're flagging off the campaign for the re-election bid of Governor Seyi Makinde. So much to talk about. We'll go to the southeast region of the country and also touch base with the thought of Chief Afebabalola, one of the presidential candidates, will be speaking with us. Interesting program that we have lined up for you tonight. One governor, one presidential candidate on the program tonight. Stay with me, everyone, as we check out some of your political roundup stories. We'll come back and speak with the governor on the program.
PDP chieftains in Yobe State say the inability of the All Progressives Congress APC to put its houses in order, especially in the Yobe North Central District, has resulted into gaining more membership into the fold of the PDP in the states. The Deputy National Chairman North of the PDP, Mr. Ilya Damagum, disclosed this in Geshua at a PDP zonal campaign where he received over 3,000 campaigns from APC to PDP. The APC Central candidate in Ogun Central District, Mr. Shuaiba Folabi Salisu, says the 10th National Assembly has a bigger role to play in defining the future of the country and is asking the electorate to vote into office credible candidates who have the capacity to redirect the nation and provide the dividend of democracy for the masses. The federal lawmaker representing Ishayin Teshiwaju Federal Constituency in Oyo State at the House of Representatives, Shina Pela, has flagged off his central campaign at Adabo Market, Palace Square, Ishayin, Oyo State. Speaking during the flag-off, Pela, who is the Accord candidate in Oyo North Central District, said he's heeding the call of his people from Oke Ogun, and he had no option than to opt for the Oyo North Central District seat.
This is a party that has understood the interest of the youth and also the interest of women and people with disability.
The Abia State Labour Party governorship candidate, Mr. Alex Oti, has continued to receive support from the people of the state. This time, the African Action Congress House of Assembly candidate for Isiala Ngwa South State constituency has also declared his support for Mr. Oti as he is pledging to work for his victory. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, has condemned the criticism of former President Olusegun Obasanjo of the Buhari administration, describing it as unnecessary for an elder statesman. Dr. Ngige was speaking during the Yuletide distribution of welfare packages to the people of his hometown, Alo, in Idemili South local government area of Anambra State. He also distances himself from campaigning for any presidential candidates, noting that they are all his friends and it's for Nigerians to vote right.
My advice to them is to vote right. I've told them to vote right. They should vote for the right candidate. The candidate that will be able to work for them.
The Deputy Senate President, Senator Ovio Moagege, who is also the APC governorship candidate in Delta State, says governor of his state and PDP vice presidential candidate Ifeanyi Okowa has mismanaged state resources received since 2015 to the tune of 4 trillion naira. He also asserts that the governor has brought disappointment to the people by accepting the office of the vice president, thereby jettisoning the right to the presidency. For this reason, he maintains that Deltans are determined to punish Okowa for what they have described as treachery. Omoagege, who is also the chairman of the National Assembly Constitutional Review Committee, says the issue of local government autonomy bill is one of the biggest challenges in the ongoing review of the 1999 Constitution and remains a priority to the executive arm.
The biggest challenge we have, frankly, it's not so much all of the bills, it's the bills dealing with the local government autonomy, both financial and admin.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Port Harcourt has struck out the judgment of the Federal High Court, which nullified the candidacy of 16 APC State House of Assembly. Justice Olabode Adigbe in his judgment ruled that the PDP has no locus standi to challenge the primary election of the APC in the first place. The judge also ruled that the Federal High Court lacks jurisdiction to entertain the suit, and its decision, which disqualified candidates of the APC, is a nullity.
Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. You've been served with your political roundup stories. Now, 2 days ago, President Buhari agreed that technology should now be used to fight violence and crime in the southeast region of the country in the face of killings and attacks. Governor Hope Uzodinma was the one who got a commitment from the president in Abuja. But today in Owerri, the governor, convinced by the achievements and successes he says he has recorded in the last 3 years of his administration, especially in infrastructure and human capital development, presented his scorecard to the people of Imo State across party lines who are participants at the 7th edition of the Imo Stakeholders Meeting. Tonight, we'll be hearing more from the governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma, who joins us live from Owerri, the Imo State capital. Thank you, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight. It's good to see you, and Happy New Year to you. Let's begin the conversation tonight. If you look at, first and foremost, perhaps, let's take a leaf from the event of today. You're presenting a scorecard. But let me ask you, it's an election year. You will be, after the general election, your state and 2 other states will be going into governorship elections. Now, as of February 2020, the IGR of the state was about 1.2 billion, which you met in the region of about 900 million. But aside some of these things that you are reeling out today, what would you say is perhaps one of the most significant things that the people of Imo State can point their finger at that you have been able to do for them since assuming office over these 3 years?
Thank you, Sean. Well, today I tangentially presented my scorecard to Imo stakeholders in a well-organized and well-attended stakeholders forum. And I did presented the scorecard sector by sector. But among the achievements that I presented today, I recall in 2020 when I came here to become the governor of Imo State, we hardly had any road in this state that any vehicle can drive through and pass. The road infrastructure and other critical infrastructure were all broken down. All the roads in the state became death traps to our people. Our people were so impoverished. The level of poverty was very high. And what did we do? We did a comprehensive assessment of the exact situation of the state. We identified the critical roads with economic and commercial viability and brought them out for immediate repair. I wrote out a mantra, my 3R mantra: reconstruction, rehabilitation, and recovery. So we did what I would consider the 3 most critical roads in the state, which actually formed the economic artery of our people, because we needed to recover the economy so that our people can become busy once more. We looked at the traffic between Owerri and Olo. Over the years, government after government made attempts to repair that road. But what they were able to do were just simple palliative measures. And it became very obvious that the road needed a comprehensive and permanent solution. So we brought a world-class company, Kremborg, and we borrowed courage to fund the construction of that road after obtaining an approval from the federal government, because the road is a federal road. And that road was commissioned last year by Mr. President. A journey that used to be 2-3 hours from Owerri to Olo now takes less than 30 minutes. In the same manner, we did the Owerri-Okigwe road, over 50 kilometers. We were able to complete the angle from Owerri up to Anga, which Mr. President also commissioned. In less than 2-3 months, the second segment will be completed and commissioned. Work is going on seriously on the 3rd road, which is Owerri to Umuahia, also a federal road, which we obtained approval to do. So we did this
I'd like to ask you, Governor, Would you say you have done enough? Because the PDP is already talking about how they want to take you out of office and how they are prepared to meet with you on the field at the election later this year. Would you say you can face the people of Imo State and that you have done as much as you promised for you to get a re-election with them?
Well, 7 months PDP were in office before I came to Imo State to become the governor. And 7 months out of 3 years is almost 8 to 9% of the total duration. So when the engagement starts, they will point to me what they did in 7 months. And pro rata will assess comparable to what I was able to do in 3 years. So our people are not blind. Seeing is believing. So I'm not going to join issues with anybody. But I think I've earned the confidence of my people. And if you look at what happened today in that town hall meeting, speaker after speaker was full of eulogies for my performance, despite the hostility and the violent nature of opposition that greeted my administration for the last 3 years. I was able to at least give a credible account for the period under review. So I'm not desperate, 1. 2, I'm not against being confronted by any opposition party. And when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it.
I understand. I mean, I know that you are also a coordinator for the APC presidential campaign in the Southeast. And as a leader of the APC in that region, you will have a lot of work to do in convincing the people of the Southeast to vote for your party. Aside that, you have, on one hand, thinking about your own re-election bid. So how do you, or what would you be telling the people of Imo State about Bola Tinubu? In the permutations that some analysts have said, Peter Obi, for example, perhaps would have had the Southeast on a lockdown.
Democracy is not about where you come from or who is your relation. Democracy, particularly as it is practiced in Nigeria, is partisan democracy. And what we talk about in a situation like this, you talk about your party and you discuss the ideology of your party, the manifesto of your party, their proposed programs and the policies. And ideologically, you take that to the people. The only way of knowing whether the people genuinely accept it is at the end of the election when the results are out. You will now know who voted for who and whose policy has been taken by the people. So it will be too early in the day for us to begin to do assessment who has occupied the space or who has not occupied the space. But you know, I'm the coordinator for APC, and APC is my party. And of course, in all elections, in the Southeast, I'm running a unified campaign for APC candidates. So the campaign that is going for the presidential candidate is also the campaign that is going for the senatorial candidate, and up to the House of Reps and the House of Assembly. And that we are doing very diligently. And the people are taking our message, and our message is melting down into the society. So in order not to waste our time, I think the election is in a few weeks' time. The countdown is already there. So at the end of the election, we'll know who the people accepted and who the people did not accept. All we're asking,
so you have the confidence that Bola Tinubu could win, for example, in Imo State?
If you listen to me today during my town hall meeting, everything I said that we were able to achieve in the last 3 years, and what President Muhammad Buhari has been able to do in the Southeast for the last 7 years, the only way of saying, APC, we are happy for what you have done in the Southeast, is to encourage them to continue with the leadership of the country. So it is not about whether Bola Tinubu is from the same place with me or not. It's about the programs, and to the extent that the manifesto of our great party, APC, has convinced and endeared to the people. So I'm very confident that the party to beat in Nigeria is APC.
Yeah, Governor Osodima, I was asking you what you will be telling your people. Because there should be something that you should be telling your people. There are other 17, there are 17 other presidential candidates on the ballot. I mean, how would you convince them that your candidate, Bola Tinubu, is better than the 17 of them? What are the 2 or 3 things that you think makes Bola Tinubu better than them?
Senator Bola Tinubu is the presidential candidate of APC, the party in power. From 1970, when the Civil War ended, the Igbos asked for a second Niger bridge. Government after government came, made promises. It was not fulfilled. The last Christmas was greeted with jubilation. Igbos coming from outside Southeast, using the second Niger bridge to come into the Southeast. That is even enough for the whole Igbos to vote for Buhari's legacy to continue. If you check off Port Harcourt to Enugu Road, the road at the time became impassable. Go there now and see what is going on. That road has been completed. Most of the federal roads in the Southeast has received sufficient attention and budgetary commission to the extent that what we suffered from in the last years is no longer what the situation is. As it has to do with Imo State, if not for the special intervention of Mr. President Muhammad Buhari, by now there will be no Imo State, because the level of violence and banditry that visited this state for the period we are talking about, only the grace of God and the commitment of federal government and their support that rescued the state. If you come to Oguta, where maritime security was at a time, very serious. The place was greeted with illegal bunkering, crude oil theft, pipeline vandalization. It took the approval of Mr. President Buhari, to establish a naval base. In Oguta, which is the oil-producing area of Imo State and Ohaje-Bama, maritime security has been controlled and managed. If you come to Federal University of Technology, Owerri, under the Second Republic, efforts were made to establish a medical school in that university. At a time, we had a minister of education from Imo State. We had a minister of health from Imo State. They were not able to get this. Government after government made promises. 3 months ago, Mr. President Buhari, has established the upgrade of Federal Medical Center Owerri into University Teaching Hospital for students in Futo to use for their clinical trainings. This is something that you cannot discountenance. Equal quality of education recently has been upgraded by President Muhammad Buhari into University of Education. You know, it's a Federal University of Education. Having harvested, listen to me, having harvested all these benefits from the federal government under the leadership of APC, why are we not going to support APC? Why are we not going to vote for APC? Are we going to leave what we know and we have seen for what we cannot even imagine? What are you talking about, my friend? APC is the party to beat in the Southeast. And
let me take you to the area of security. Yeah, the area of security that you touched on. And at several fora, you have alluded that the cause of these crimes and violence in your state are political in nature. And just a few days ago, a former governor, Hikedi Hakim, was attacked, and policemen and some men in his convoy were killed. Now, how difficult is it to identify these politicians whom you have alluded to are behind this? You've gone to the president also to ask for a technological approach in solving the crime and violence in Imo State and in the southeast region of the country. Can you tell us and tell the people of Imo State tonight that these politicians, are they within or without? Are they Imolites or they are not from your state? What exactly is going on? What can you tell us? In the last 3 years, what do you know that you can tell the people of Imo State on the issue of the security?
Today, in my conversation with stakeholders in Imo State, I made it very clear that the events of the past have shown clearly that those behind the insecurity in Imo State are politicians, and that this insecurity is politically contrived. For instance, in that presentation which I did, tangentially, I came out with a clear position that all the people that have been attacked in Imo State, all the houses that have been burnt down are members of APC and those very close to my government. If you look at, there is no opposition party, no member of any other political party that has been attacked in Imo State. No member of any other opposition party that his house has been burnt down. And this has continued to happen. You just mentioned of that of the former governor, Ike Hakim. 3 days after he summoned a special dinner of Imo stakeholders, encouraged them to support the government of APC. 2 days after, he was attacked and his security chiefs, details, killed. So I have presented this matter to Imo people. And of late, arrests have been made. Some arrests have been made, some of the kingpins. So I've challenged the security agents in Imo State to make public, as soon as possible, the report of that investigation, and those behind these killings in Imo State be named. And they're going to do just that. I'm not going to pretend about that. I'm not going to play politics with the security of Imo State. Those who are behind this thing must be brought to book.
Well, I mean, when you ask for technological approach or gadgets to fight crime in yours, what exactly were you talking about? Is it satellite in nature? Are these mobile gadgets? What kind of technology are you referring to, or did you get permission or commitment of the president?
All over the world, all over the world, technology has taken over. Some of the fight against security now are technologically based, and modern technologies are there. If the bandits are in the bush, we have technology to see where they are. If the bandits are meeting anywhere, we have technologies to see where they meet or know how they meet. There are so many technologies now. There are some technologies now that is meant for some special crimes, like the one happening in Imo State. We've been able to work with security agents and manufacturers to identify the appropriate ones for Imo State. And that is what Mr. President has approved and has also supported us to procure. I don't want to begin to publicly tell you the name of the technology, the type of technology, whatever it is that will make crime in Imo State to be brought under control. I think we are supporting it. But if you want the details of the technology, you can visit the security agents and they will explain to you better. But mine, I'm the governor of Imo State, and I'm working with them, supporting them, funding them to ensure that they succeed in their fight against crime in Imo State.
Governor Uzodimma, to wrap up this conversation with you tonight, a lot of citizens of Imo State, whether home and abroad, are watching tonight, and they're wondering some of the things that you said you have done past administration that they've not been able to do, but you said you have done, and you gave the scorecard to the people of the state today. But let me ask you, in your inner mind, what kind of legacy do you think you want to leave behind? I mean, going into the next election, it's a gamble. It's either you win or you lose. But in this very first phase that you have entered into, what legacy would you say you want to leave behind as governor of Imo State?
Even as I speak with you, the Imo State I met in January 2020 and the Imo State of January 2022, they're not the same. In fact, they can be best described as the day and the night. The Imo State of 2020 when I came was like the night. The Imo State of today is like the day. And I have tabulated all the achievements we've recorded, verifiable. And I've also challenged the people to go and find that. If I say we did 40-kilometer roads in your community, go and check whether it is 40-kilometer road. If we did whatever in so area, go and check. So I have identified and named all the projects we've done, all the dividends of democracy we've provided. The issue of poverty and crime in Imo State, genuinely, we've done our best to fight poverty by one. We are struggling and making sure we're empowering our youths. We are creating job opportunities. We are reducing hunger. We are reducing poverty. We are making sure people are gainfully employed by encouraging private investments through public-private partnership. We are revamping the industries that have been moribund for years to create employment opportunities. We are supporting security agencies to go to work and do their job. We have renewed and restructured the civil service, rehabilitated all the infrastructure, created a new motivation, and the people are now happy because the sense of security in their offices came back. So we're making life gradually easy for our people, reducing poverty, building the economy, strengthening the revenue system of revenue generation in form of IGR. So we're doing a lot, but we need peace, more importantly. I also informed the stakeholders today that we are spending a lot of money fighting insecurity. And this insecurity is avoidable. If you go to other parts of the country, yes, we have seen banditry, we have seen terrorism, but not at the pace and level the thing is happening in Imo State. Ours are just unthinkable, that people can wake up, plan on how to go and attack people's homes, burn down their homes, kill important personalities, just to put fear into people, to make Imo State ungovernable. And what are we governing? I've stayed here for 3 years. The remaining tenure for 4 years, which is the first time, is 1 year. So this thing you've not been able to destroy for 3 years. Why can't you repent and know that it is not possible and God has not allowed it?
Governor Uzodimma, thank you so much indeed. The Executive Governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodimma, speaking with us live from Owerri, the Imo State capital. Thank you so much indeed, Your Excellency, for your time tonight.
Thank you, Shehu. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We take a break, everyone, and when we return, our attention will be on the 2023 presidential election. I'll be joined by the presidential candidate of the Accord Party, a young Nigerian who believes that it is the turn of the young people to lead this country. He says he has what it takes to change things around in the country. Mulari's paradigm shift and the presidential race. Stay with us, everyone. Like a dream, isn't it? We've been talking about the 2023 presidential election for several months, and I mean, unbelievable that it's just 51 days from today. Now, a legal luminary, Chief Afebabalola, has raised fears that the coming presidential election will be won by the highest spender and not the best among the candidates. Chief Babalola at a media briefing in Ado-Ekiti expressed worry that the 2023 general election will be conducted under the 1999 Constitution against his advice, saying the poll will only reproduce those who have brought Nigeria to a sordid state. The legal icon believes the recent endorsement of Peter Obi of the Labour Party by former President Olusegun Obasanjo does not factor in the role money bags will play in the election. Take a listen to Chief Afebabalola.
He is exercising his right to follow whoever he wanted to follow, but he was not thinking of the outcome, possible outcome of monetized election. Obasanjo has no money to give to Obi. It is not who can make a difference that will win this election. It is, I will repeat, it is not the person who had all that it takes, age, health, education, and patriotism, that will win the election. The winner of this election, and I can bet it, is going to be the person who has made money in this country.
Well, you heard Chief Afebabalola. What do you think about Chief Babalola's bets? He said he bets you that the person who will win, he's not the best person, but the person who has the deepest pocket. Well, let's see whether or not one of my guests tonight has qualifies into Chief Afebabalola's description. I'm being joined tonight by the presidential candidate of the Accord Party, Professor Chris Imomalain. He's in our Lagos studio. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us tonight. Let's start off from what Chief Afebabalola said. Do you agree with him that this election might be won by the deepest pocket?
No, thank you, Seun, for inviting me today. I don't agree quite. I would be very frank with that. I don't agree because looking at Nigeria election, you would see quite that it is usually not even the highest spender that wins the presidential election. Start from 1999 when Obasanjo became the president. He was from the prison. He was not even that rich, and he won the presidency. After him was Yaradua, who was a governor in Castina. We had people in the race who had more money than President Yaradua, and he emerged as the president. Well, some presidents would doubt the process, but we are looking at the pocket. After that, we had President Buhari, who contested against the sitting president. He was not the person who has the highest pocket. So looking at that line, and again, because Nigeria also have gotten to a point where I think the political awareness among Nigerians has gotten to a point where Nigerians truly want to vote. And again, with the INEC, the Electoral Act that have been passed, which has given the youth of Nigeria that confidence that we will be going to the election to truly vote for the right candidate who deem fit will change the status quo of Nigeria. So with this, I don't quite agree with what very respected elder statesman I respect so much. But I think that opinion, I don't agree with that.
If Chief Afebabalola bet on the person with the deepest pocket winning this election, what would you bet on?
I bet on the Nigerians would come out, because look at what is happening with the sensitization about the election. This particular election is going to transit beyond what we used to know. We can see that no candidate by itself can actually beat his chest to say it is very sure for me to win this election. None of us. It is going to be a stiff and tough election, and that is one of the hope we have. So what I'm betting on is that Nigeria will select a fresh idea. We select a man who is not in the political circle, someone like me, who is coming outside the political circle, who believe to be coming into the political scene to turn things around and bring the aggressive development Nigeria nation has been looking for. I've always said this, and this is what I believe would happen in the forthcoming election. And for me, what we should be doing is making sure that Nigeria have this awareness, creating the awareness with other candidates. Like you said before I came in, there are other 18 candidates, and the information is high. We have high hopes. My bet is Nigeria will select and Nigeria will win at the end of the day.
Do you think that you are that choice?
I know I'm the choice, because this is it. Let's get it straight. I am the youngest. I am the only youth in the race. I represent the youths in this race that constitute a large chunk of the Nigerian election. I represent that new ideology that Nigeria have been crying for. I always say this, that look at it. I was born when the recent president of Nigeria on seat was the head of state. That was the year I was giving birth to. And we grew up hearing about, President Buhari, and now I'm contesting as a president when he is a president. The Nigerian youths are beginning to see that we truly need to hand over Nigeria economy and the running of our nation to a vibrant Nigeria who is knowledgeable, who has proven record of achievement privately. That is what I represent, and that is what we have been preaching to millions of Nigerians everywhere. And the hope, the belief with the new system we have, the electoral system, believe me, we are very hopeful that we will do so well and will win the next election.
Now, as a professor, I know you must pride yourself in assessing things empirically. So let's look at the issues here. To win an election, you've got to have the resource to be able to prosecute the election. One. Two, you need to have the structure to be able to prosecute. But whether in and out, inside structure means the political party structure, the campaign structure, then out means the followership that either your party or yourself has. Also, you also need to put into consideration your track record. I mean, nobody comes from out of the blues to win an election. And this is an unusual trait that we'll often see. First and foremost, let's begin by asking you, have you resumed your campaigns? Where have you campaigned? Have you gone outside to reach out to Nigerians? What are your plans in terms of campaign in the first place?
Okay, thank you. We are in this race to change the status quo. What you have just analyzed is what is the normal when it comes to Nigeria election. Yes, we have seen that we have a country where it is just so normal that it is only the few among the very few people around the political circle that determines who lead this nation. And that is why, as a nation, we are where we are. We are the deepest point of our darkness as a nation. So we must deliberately change that status quo, and that is what I stand for. We have seen this happen. You know, everything seems impossible until it happens. We believe in the positivity. We believe in the achievement of this dream. Coming to the structure, Accord is not just a small party. The party I am running on is a party that has been there for many years. It's a party that have built structure all across the 74 local governments in Nigeria. And if you check what I've done in my little capacity as a young Nigerian, you will discover that I've also built salient structure over the years. Might not be political, but I have groups of a lot of millions of people all across Nigeria based on my track record, based on the humanitarian work we've been doing for many years all across the state in Nigeria. I'm probably the only candidate who would have traveled almost all the states in Nigeria even before politics. I am a grassroots person. I have been to virtually all the states. For example, Ekiti. Ekiti has about how many local governments? I've been to Boyin, Aramoko, Ileje-Meje. I can mention, I've been there doing the grassroots work, supporting Nigerians.
Professor Imolayin, have you tested your structure in an election? Either by your party, I mean, so I mentioned structure. So how many governors do you have? How many senators do you have? How many House of Reps do you have? These are the people who will do the groundwork. This structure that you say you have, what is the electoral value of this structure? What have you won before?
Let me say this. Like you said, I'm a professor, and we do analysis to know if we are in a race to win. We are in this to win. What I need is 17 million votes. 17 million people who will go to the ballot and vote for me. I can tell you we are doing our analysis and we have our data all across Nigeria. What we need, regardless of whatsoever system and methodology you use, at the end of the day, do you have people to vote for you on the ballot? We are going to adopt, or we are adopting a non-conventional system of election, of voting. We have started collecting our data privately. I am very analytical. I'm an ICT professor, and we are doing this. Many Nigerians might not know me, but I can tell you, I have 15 million Nigerians that know me, that are ready to go to the ballot and vote for me. And we are going to increase that number. What I said, look, if we are going to use the normal political system...
From your own calculations, Prof.
Yes. So if you are going to use...
So let me ask you, where have you gone to campaign?
I've been to virtually all the regions of Nigeria. Even before campaign, I am everywhere. I have scholarship centers all over the states in Nigeria. I have presence everywhere in Nigeria. In this election, I've been to Imo, I've been to Ibadan. In Lagos, I'm based in Lagos. I've been to Abuja. We've done town hall meetings all over Abuja with our people. Those we know have the voters card to vote for. We might not be pulling that crowd because we are not buying, we don't do what is conventional. The kind of system of our election is in the box system. we get those that have the voters card who believe in us, many of those who have impacted in the past 15 years through our empowerment program, you need to check what I've done. I'm probably the only candidate.
So
I always say
let me
this.
ask you, Prof, quickly. We just have 2 minutes left on the program before we go. And I have 2 short questions for you. You have regarded yourself as the only youth in the race on the ballot. Now, tell me, one of the major problems of Nigeria at the moment is the unemployment rate. 33.3% is the unemployment rate in Nigeria, except something has changed yesterday. Give us an idea of what you will do to, on the downward slope, to reduce these and create more jobs, just in 30 seconds.
Number one.
How would you create more jobs?
Yes, number one. A nation that is largely uneducated would have youths who do not have the required tools to empower themselves. I'm a professor. I believe so much in education. Like I said, we are going to rejuvenate, we are going to change the landscape of Nigeria education. We are going to change the system of education in Nigeria, and we'll make sure that Nigerians are empowered in their mind first to become self-sustainable. 2, we would ensure that we create an enabling environment for private sector to strive. I believe so much, and I always say this, that government do not have a role in doing business. We must begin to rejig our policies. We must begin to give out social amenities and social funds to help the youth of Nigeria to have great access to demonstrating their potentialities. Education is key. Creating enabling environment for Nigerians to strive, and most importantly, we must tackle the issue of power.
All right, Prof.
A country that wants to industrialize himself.
My final question to you, and I'd like you to, I'll appeal to you that you help me take it very quickly. Now, there is this Japa syndrome. Colloquially, that's what is being referred to. How much of Nigerians are willing to leave the country at every given opportunity. What do you think about this syndrome? And if you are elected president tomorrow, what would you do to stop this trend?
We must create a better country. 1, look at what is happening in West Indians. West Indians are known as a country that exports human resources. They are one of the best managers. They are one of the best ICT experts. Believe me, when you empower Nigerians, Nigerians will not only leave its shores to look for a source of livelihood. Nigerians will begin to impact positively in the global economy. And that again would impact in Nigerian GDP. We must begin to invest in Nigerians. The biggest resources that we have as a nation is our people, is our youth. And again, we must begin to create jobs for our people. We must begin to have good and safe country for our people. Why is it that Nigerians want to live? The first option every Nigerian youth has in life today in Nigeria is to leave the country. Why? Because we have a country that is not safe, because we have a country that does not give equal opportunity to Nigerian youth, and a country where Nigerian youth cannot express their potentialities. We'll begin to have that checked, and we'll begin to make sure that we have a country where Nigerians will stay, work, live, and those who want to travel will be traveling to impact on the world, because they already have the skills to do the same.
Yeah, we're totally out of time. Do you have the money? Chief Afebabalola says the next president will win the election because of money. But watch this space, because Professor Chris Imomolayin said he's the next president because he's confident that we get 17 million votes. That's what he needs to be president. Yeah. So let's look at and see what happens. Thank you so much indeed for coming tonight, everyone. Professor Chris Imomolayin is the Accord Party presidential candidate. Thank you so much indeed for coming. But that's our show for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm sure Afebabalola. God bless Nigeria.